thank you for tuning in with us on JDtv. This is a very special day because we have a very special guest. She sang the soundtrack of the 1960s and the 1970s with an enormous amount of grace and glamour as a member of one of the most successful girl groups of all time. Mary Wilson occupied a unique space in American music and a special place in the hearts of young girls, admiring males, and everyone who has ever dared to dream. And still, all these years later, she still manages to reign supreme. It is my biggest honor to sit down with the legendary Mary Wilson. Thanks so much for being here, Miss Mary Wilson.
Thank you very much, Mr. Duncan. And how are you?
I'm just fine, but Mr. Duncan is my dad. Just call me Joe.
Well, look, see, I'm 76 years old. And because I've reached this age, and I go back to when my mom and my dad and everyone, they taught us to always say Mr. and Mrs. to anyone
Yes.
who's 21. And I understand that Mr. Duncan to you is your dad. But right now, I'm going to say Mr. Duncan because you are just wonderful.
Well, thank you very much. Well, I am 48 too. So,
That's what I'm saying, you know.
well, how does it feel for you to be so beloved by most of the entire world?
Well, look, I don't know how to answer that because you know, it feels great now that I'm older to look back and see that, yes, these Supremes, Florence, Diane, and myself, really have affected so many people around the world with our music. And, you know, that wouldn't be possible without, say, Mr. Barry Gordy, Motown Records, our producers, Holland Dozier Holland,
Yes.
and all the people, Mrs. Powell, Mr. Charlie Atkins, all the people that work with us to make us one of the most famous female groups in the world. And personally, for me, as I mentioned, I feel great because I'm still here. You know what I mean? And to hear and to see that just by us being ourselves and just using the gift that God gave us, we really have, you know, really touched so many lives. And so, yeah, for me, that sounds really good to hear it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you were known as the favorite Supreme. Everyone that I talked to and told that I was getting ready to do this interview, oh, she was my favorite. She was my favorite. She was my favorite. And you have been the one who has really worked to keep the legacy of the Supremes alive. And that's evident in the latest book that you have, the Supreme Glamour coffee table book that everyone should buy and put on their living room table. But why has that been so important for you through these last decades to work so hard to keep the Supremes name out there and show the people just what you guys have done?
I loved us. I loved Diane. I loved Florence, and I loved what we represented. I loved that the three of us were three little Black girls who did dare to dream. And I say, oh, I mean, I love us. I loved that we got together somehow or another, that God got us together, and we ended up just sort of creating and making this music that, as I mentioned, touched so many lives.
Yes.
For me to continue doing this is because I found out what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, all my life. And I was fortunate enough to be able to do that. So I wanted to share the reason why people say, well, why do you keep, because I think that we did something phenomenal.
You did.
And I'd like to share that with people to let them know what it's like when you find something in life that you really enjoy doing. I mean, I think God gives everyone something great. Sometimes you're not able to find that. Sometimes it's because of your station in life. You know, sometimes we're not. You know, we're poor and we're not able to get beyond that. There are many reasons that people cannot become great and famous to the entire world. But everyone has the ability, is what I'm saying. Even if it's just to be kind to a patron, you know, in a restaurant. I mean, what your gift is, you should shine it. And I was fortunate enough to be in the Supremes where I could shine
and share it with the world.
with the world.
Well, you guys, you started singing when you were just little girls, 13, 14 years old. You guys had the most incredible journey through this music business. When did you first realize that, hey, we're pretty big stuff? Was it the first hit record? Was it the first time someone asked you for an autograph? Do you remember the moment when you were like, I'm the, you know what?
The moment was when I met Florence, Diane, and Betty. The very first time I met them. That was the moment I knew it was something special, and that we had something special.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the hit records that came later. It wasn't the appearing on all the Sullivan shows. It wasn't
Yeah.
the to Europe. I knew it when I met Flo, Diane, and Betty, and I sort of met the other parts of me, and we shared a common bond, and it was our music. And for me, that was the greatest moment. Now, I remember also we kept saying, well, when is everybody else going to know how great we are?
Because there was a period there where you guys had trouble getting a hit record.
Oh, yeah, we had a lot of trouble because everyone else was coming to Motown. And, they were getting hit records, and we were seeing all the great talent there. And we were like, well, wait a minute, when is our time coming? You know, we were special, and we were special with each other. We were friends. And then pretty soon Mr. Berry Gordy finally said, oh, okay, I'll give you guys a break. And anyway, he put us with his writing team, one of his greatest writing teams.
Holland Dozier Holland.
And that's when the hit records came. And so then, people started seeing what we already knew. We were really good. I mean,
yes.
And we had this sort of, kind of look about ourselves that we knew good. I think some of the other people were a little jealous of us because we just really thought we were so good. And
rightfully so.
Yeah,
rightfully so.
But it was the records that actually made us, famous. So I do have to say thank you to Motown, and to Howard Dozier Holland, who kind of gave us the material.
The Supremes were like no other girl group at that time, although there were many girl groups at that time. But something special set you apart from the rest of the pack. And I think when Berry Gordy, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, when Berry Gordy decided that you guys should start singing standards, and that kind of set you apart and introduce you to a much broader audience. How did you feel about that idea? Were you on board with it at first, or were you thinking, why would we do that?
I hate to disappoint you, but you see, we came to Motown singing standards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they did not give us that idea. That was why we were so special, because when we were four girls with Betty McGlon and Barbara, we were singing songs that had four-part harmony. We had harmony that was just so beautiful.
Yes.
And we learned a lot of standards, all the standards that were out there. We learned those. So we were singing standards before we went to Motown. But it was one to Motown's credit that they recognized that Mr. Berry Gordy recognized that and used it. But it was us.
Well, I did not know that. I did not realize that. So I'm glad you set me straight on that. So, so like you said, you guys had it all along.
There. Yeah, but that was what was so special about us and about Mr. Berry Gordy, is that he had the insight to know what each group or which person had this sort of talent. Right. And we were very fortunate that he decided to use it, because we were, as I said, we were singing. In fact, I was watching a clip today. I forgot which show it was. Ed Sullivan, I think it was. We said Early Modern Millie. We were singing that. And as I was watching it, because I'm putting together my collection here, and as I was watching it, I realized, heck, we were doing that before we went to Motown.
Right, right.
That was what was really good, that they recognized what we had and used it and embellished upon it.
Well, we're all so glad they did. When you look at the girl groups today, and I really can't even name one that are out today.
But let me go back before you answer that question. My favorite were girl groups. I mean, I love the Shirelles. Okay, also to me they were like tops. The Chantels were maybe. The Toys. I mean, the Dixie the Dixie Cups. I mean, all these girl groups are
Yeah,
mine, and I talk to them all the time.
that's
Uh,
great.
but I love that we were the original. All of us were the original girl group. What
Yeah.
made it so great, not just the Supremes, but well, it was the Supremes because TV came along. You see, before that, the great groups like the Shirelles and the Chantels, you didn't see a lot on TV.
Right, and you were in people's homes.
Yeah, so that kind of put us out front because of that. But I guess you were going to ask about some of the girl groups today,
Yeah, the
right?
girl groups today, when you see them, I mean, so many have obviously been influenced by you, of course, Destiny's Child, but the times are so much different. When you look at some of them today, do you cringe a little bit because it's really not so much the grace and the glamour is really gone, and it's kind of been replaced by a little, something else, a little raunchiness sometimes. What do you think?
I first of all, I think it's their parents who were the ones who kind of looked up to us and
Yeah.
probably, influenced their look in terms of the Supremes. But no, I don't think that because even back then, we had the glamour, but we were covered, head to toe with the diamonds. Well, they weren't real, but I mean, rhinestones,
Yeah.
and all those kind of things. And then, it came a time when women were beginning to sort of come out of that sort of being just so, I forgot, I don't know what we were, but anyway. And so now women want to say, well, listen, we can be, free and do what we want to do. So I applaud some of the ladies for wanting to just be themselves. However, you mentioned the raunchiness and all that. Sometimes, I think it can be taken too far. I mean, I don't like that dance where they do the booty.
It's called twerking, Miss Mary.
I didn't want to say it, but okay. And I think a lot of that can be taken out of can be whatever. And when they get a little older, they'll realize, oh my God, I got children, I can't do that.
Right.
When you're young, you see, you do a lot of things. I mean, I was young, I did a lot of things I didn't even put in my book.
Something we like to do here on JDtv is we do this segment called Fan Out, where I allow a fan to come on, to pop on and ask a question. And so we have one of your fans waiting, and hopefully she'll be able to get hooked up. Let's see if we can get her really quickly.
Fan out.
This is Tina Millsaps. Tina, say hello to Miss Mary Wilson.
Hi, Miss Mary.
Hello, Tina.
How are you?
I'm wonderful.
How are you?
Where are you located? Where are you now?
I'm here in Statesville, North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina. Okay. One of my singers lives in North Carolina.
Oh, really?
Actually, I have a granddaughter who lives there as well in North Carolina, Sandwich Park. But anyway.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, listen, Tina is a big fan. Tina, tell me why are you such a big fan of Mary Wilson and the Supremes? What do they mean to you?
Well, I can't think of any young girl of color who at one time was not standing in the mirror with a brush in her hand or a mic emulating the Supremes.
Yeah. Were you one of those little girls?
I was one of those little girls that actually at 8 years old.
Oh.
Wow.
Yes.
I hear that a lot, Tina, and sometimes when I do a show, a lot of the ladies come on stage, and every single one of them, they do the hand thing like that, and some say "break your heart." I'm like, do we have to play "break your heart"?
Yes.
And like you say, a lot of people use the hair brushes, as a microphone and all that. So it's really wonderful to know that your music is something that, we were using a gift from God, and we were just having fun in the beginning there. We didn't realize that people were going to be watching us all over the world.
Right.
So,
yeah. And I'm sure you didn't realize, or you may have realized the impact that you had on so many other young girls who moved forward and were able to do just as you guys did.
Yes. And I don't know if you have my latest book, and I'm not trying to push it right now, but in the foreword, I asked Miss Rupi Goldberg if she would write the foreword of my latest book, and she did.
That.
And she said beautiful things, and I came to tears when she sent it to me. I was like, oh my God, I didn't know that, we were affecting people like that. We were just having fun ourselves,
Yeah.
I heard you read that forward in a recent interview that you did, and it was touching that Whoopi revealed that she was also one of those little girls standing in the mirror with the broom handle as the microphone. So that's sweet.
Yes, it really is. And so here's what I tell everyone, Tina, especially the young ones coming up, and that is, if you have a desire to do something, then you got to dare to dream to make those dreams come true, because they can come true. And sometimes we were like poor, and we could look at projects, and for us to have our dreams come true when there were other people in the projects who could probably out-sing us. And a lot of people are still living in the projects who could out-sing us.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not about, I tell everyone, it's not about you having a good voice, but you also got to dare to dream and make those dreams come true.
Right.
They can come true too.
They can. Yeah. Tina, what would you like to ask Mary?
One of the questions I really like to ask is, what was your favorite song recorded?
Oh my God.
What was one of your favorite?
I have 11 grandchildren. I cannot say which one is my favorite.
And songs are the same way?
But I will answer that in another way. And that is, You Can't Hurry Love was a fun song to record. And I remember, I know Help Me Mother Dear, which wasn't really one of our biggest hits. But I love singing that song because Florence and I were like, help me, Mother dear. We were, and I watched it on whatever show we did. I can't remember what TV show we did it on, but I watched it and I could see, I remember the fun we were having, So a lot of times it didn't necessarily mean the song was so great. It's just, we were just having fun doing it.
Having fun, yeah.
I think Love Is Here is another one, a song that I really enjoyed.
Oh, that's another great one. They're all so great. They all should be favorites. Tina, what else would you like?
I'm sorry, I just wanted to say, I can't really say I had one favorite. That's
right. We understand. Tina, what else would you like to ask Mary while we have her here?
The other question I would like to ask is, are you in contact with the rest of the ladies?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, Diana and I talk on occasions. We're not close like we used to be because, we're both grandmas and we
right.
places and we are families and things like that. And businesses, taking us apart and all that kind of stuff. But we talk on occasions. Obviously, Florence Ballard passed away in 1976. Yes. So that really, for me, is heartbreaking. But I do stay not just I, but her children, her daughters, and not children, stay in contact with me all the time.
Right.
All the time. Connection with Flo. But yeah, Diana and I, we're sort of not, shall I say, close, but we still communicate with each other.
Right.
Right. Of course.
We were friends, and so that connection is like having a distant cousin. You know what I mean?
We
feel that connection of family. So it's we don't. Unlike what people think that we dislike each other, that is not true.
Oh no.
Right.
Right now, we really are. I would say cousins.
Yeah. Well, Tina, thanks so much for calling in, and I hope that you had a good time talking with Mary.
I did, and thank you so much. It was indeed a pleasure.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Tina. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, okay. Tina, I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All righty.
All right.
Bye-bye. So sweet. I don't know how you can get people in like that.
Yeah, look, as soon as I know you're coming on, I put a call out into the universe. If you're a fan of Mary Wilson, get in contact with me if you wanna talk to her. I also wanted to ask you, because girl groups have always had, I think, gotten a bad rap because it seems like we don't really hear of one staying together forever and ever and ever. And of course, nothing lasts forever. But do you think that girl groups, I mean, and of course it happens to male groups too. There's infighting and you get mad with one another. And there's arguments and ups and downs and bumps in the road. But do you think female groups get a bad rap and it's an unfair stereotype that's placed on them more than male groups?
Well, you know, it has to do with the gender. Let's put it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Because even in life, for so often, men were always able to sort of bond together no matter what. You know what I mean? I think that that's just something that men can do better than women. Women, we're very sort of, you know, our hearts get in the way. And you know, sometimes it's hard to get over something because we are like totally into it. Men can like, next, you know, they move on.
Yeah.
We girls, it's hard for girls to kind of move on a lot of times, but I think that has changed now with this whole new generation, especially with the baby boomers. I find that, you know, women came together more now because we needed to come together, and we, you know, we did so much for our families. We raised our families, so a lot of times it was just difficult. But now, I just believe women are really friends nowadays. Where if you talk about our differences and not, you know, let stuff get in the way, women are really moving ahead. That glass ceiling has been broken, cracked a lot of times, but you guys, sometimes it's still a man's world. You guys don't want to deal with us, but we're coming through the glass ceiling like that.
Listen, and I'm laying down the red carpet for you when you come through.
Let me just say one more thing about that girl group thing. And it's not just girl groups, but I think that the girl groups now are making statements as women. You know, we're making male statements, and that's bringing us closer together because we are all saying, well, what? That's the same thing happened to me. That's happened to me. So now we're going to get together and say, okay, let's get together and talk. And we talk together. Whereas before, maybe we didn't. But we can now. So it's not just girl groups, it's just females.
Exactly. Well, listen, we don't have very much time with you, and I want to get to a couple of more things before we have to let you go. So you've had this amazing career with the Supremes. You've also had an amazing career out on your own. Do you enjoy the freedom of being a solo act more than having to the confines of being a member of a group?
Well, you know, as I look back, I see that there were a lot of things that I did because it was all for the group. And that's the way I thought. I'm a group person, you know. And whatever I did was for the group. And I would often put my own feelings back because, you know, hey, it's okay. In fact, I looked at one of the clips today, and one of the dresses, we used to wear these umpire dresses where it was like under your boobs. And that was not a good look for me because it always looked like I had a stomach. And I never really did. So, you know, there are a lot of things I like my freedom, yes, but I do miss Florence and Diane very much.
Well, that brings me. Then let me ask you this: you know, in recent years, we've lost so many of our great legends.
Sure.
Nancy Wilson, Aretha Franklin, most recently, Natalie Cole, and the Supremes are such a part of American music, and it seems like for years and years, fans have been rooting and wanting, you know, to see you guys take that stage together one more time. And, you know, time passes quickly here, and we're all getting older. Is there ever a chance that we will see you and Diane on a stage together, not necessarily singing, but even perhaps presenting an award at an award show of some sort? Do you think we will?
You probably have to ask some of the award shows and stuff like that.
It would be a great thing.
When the Temptations play, Otis's play about the Temptations was on Broadway. Was that the time I went? No, that wasn't it. With the Motown musical.
Yes.
And so Diane and I were there together. And, just recently at the Elton John's party.
For the Oscars, yes, I saw that.
That's what I was trying to say. That, you know,
you're not estranged.
Yeah, no. But in terms of us singing together, you know, Diane has her own career, and she's doing the lady of the country. So, you know, I don't think that that's something she would like to do. I know the fans would love it. I mean, you know, I'm open if it happens, but it has to happen the right way. But it's not something I'm sitting around, you know,
waiting on.
No.
Well, I'm going to cross my fingers that at least some award show producer will get the bright idea to say, hey, let's have Mary Wilson and Diana Ross present the Best Supporting Oscar Actress Award or something like that. I think that would be a fantastic idea.
Sure. But also, speaking about that, I'm hoping to do a Broadway play on the Supremes.
And you absolutely should.
That's one of my biggest dreams now. That's why I tell people, you know, you can keep on dreaming. Don't stop dreaming just because you're in your 70s or your 80s. You know.
Right. That's right.
I think it would be wonderful because they do everything about men. You know, like I say, it's a man's world. So, you have all these crazy stuff about men, but I mean, what about the females? Oh,
Right, right.
my girl, she had, but anyway, so anyway, I'm hoping to have that. I'm working on something like that.
All right, well, we're going to keep our fingers crossed for you. So get busy.
Crossed.
Get on it. Get on it, Miss Wilson.
Oh,
well, listen, something we also like to do here at JDtv is we love to play games with our guests. And so I came up with this cute game that I think you're going to love. No, I think you're going to love it, Miss Mary.
Okay.
And I'm calling it Supreme or Extreme.
Mary Wilson, and she's the sexy one.
Ooh.
Yeah, good title, right?
Okay.
I have to thank my buddy Preston for the title. But anyway, so I'm going to give you situations, and you tell me if the behavior is supreme or a little too extreme, okay?
Okay.
All right. So you're on a date, good-looking, handsome guy, and he sits down and orders your food for you. Supreme or extreme?
I think I'll go in between because, well, I'm like that. I'm Pisces, so I mean, you can give me vanilla chocolate. Okay, but I think that it should be up to. He should ask, "Would you like for me to order you?"
Yes. Yes.
So I would say I wouldn't say extreme, but in between. You can add that.
All right, we'll add that. Supreme, extreme, or in between. All right, the second one. A man spends money on you to impress you. Supreme or extreme?
Well, honey, he can spend as much as he wants on me. Now he also has got to come up with something else after it. But I mean, yeah, he can spend all the money. Give me all the money. I'll spend it too.
All right. We just
got to. I've worked all my life, buying my own diamonds and my houses and my.
It's time somebody else buying for you.
Yeah, I'll buy all you want for me.
All right, we've just got a couple more of these. Going on a Twitter rant about another singer. Going on Twitter and making a big stink about some other singer. Supreme or extreme?
I think that's definitely extreme. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
What about wearing the same dress twice? Supreme or extreme?
Oh, we wore them many times. Yeah.
Really?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's no big deal. Yeah.
So,
especially now in this pandemic, honey, we can't go out shopping.
That's right.
You gotta find something. I'm sure you got something in your closet that'll work.
Cool. All right, last one. Stealing another group's singer. Supreme or extreme?
Well.
You know a little something about that, Mary.
Yeah, we did that with the Patty and
yeah, that's how Cindy Birdsong came about.
We stole Cindy Birdsong, so that's, yeah. But let me tell you, and that happens a lot. I mean, you see like the OJs, they had Sammy Strain in the OJs, and he was with another group. That happens a lot. Yes,
yeah, because Sammy Strain was with Little Anthony and the Imperials, right?
Imperials, that's
yeah,
right.
I just interviewed one of the OJs a few weeks ago. Great interview.
Cool. Yeah.
I
love them. But yeah, so that's something that we all did. So it was extreme, but
but it was also a supreme move because it was a great move by you guys. Well, listen, I know we've got to let you go, but before we say goodbye, I want everyone to know about some important work that you've been doing, and I want to talk about it really quickly. The Music Modernization Act. Tell everybody how important that is and how much help it's giving to some of our favorite singers.
Right, exactly. The Music Modernization Act has to do with people who recorded pre-72, which would be all the acts, Supremes, Aretha, everybody, who were not being paid whenever their music was streamed on whatever devices you had. So now, if you recorded, and people post 72, they're being paid, but the ones before were not. So this act now kind of guarantees not only just singers, but I mean engineers, writers, everyone in the music business who would receive money from streaming and whatever. So this will ensure that they are being paid when their music is streamed. That's one part of it. A lot.
Right, but that's great. That's greatly needed. That's going to help a lot of people who may have been, kind of cheated out of royalties they were supposed to have and all kinds of things.
And their families, right?
And their families.
So sweet. Thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Hi, this is Mary Wilson, and you are watching JDtv with Joe Duncan.